Tonight, Super Tuesday.
This is a team.
Polls are closing on the biggest day so far in the 2020 race for the White House.
We're going to defeat Donald Trump.
This as the Federal Reserve announces plans to take unprecedented emergency measures with the coronavirus rippling through global markets.
And Music City left in tatters.
We are just devastated.
After a pair of overnight tornadoes leave more than 20 dead in their wake.
Plus, breaking the stalemate.
It's a win against all odds.
Benjamin Netanyahu looks to be heading for a victory after 3 elections in under a year.
All this and more tonight on Faith Nation. '20 Democrats face their biggest test yet as 14 states cast their ballots. Welcome to Faith Nation, and thanks for joining us this Super Tuesday. I'm Jenna Bratter.
And I'm Eric Phillips. Tonight, polls are closing across the country as Democratic voters cast their ballots to decide who will be the party's nominee in the 2020 presidential race. What amounts to a national primary in the race for the White House comes as Tennessee declares a state of emergency after tornadoes leave more than 20 dead there.
And the coronavirus infecting global markets. The Federal Reserve now taking emergency steps to address the economic fallout from the viral outbreak.
We have team coverage tonight. CBN Chief Political Analyst David Brody and Senior Washington Correspondent Jennifer Wishon join us tonight to break down Super Tuesday.
And we begin with CBN White House correspondent Ben Kennedy on the North Lawn. Ben, the administration's response to coronavirus entering a new urgent phase. What are they saying tonight?
Well, Jenna, before leaving the White House today, President Trump said things are going very well. They are working with Congress to lock down funding and even other countries as they face the outbreak as well. The death toll climbed past 3,000 from the coronavirus. 9 people have died here in the country, all in Washington state. Now, some schools in New York have closed today after a second person in the state tested positive for the virus. Health officials confirm more than 100 cases in 15 states. North Carolina is the most recent added to the list. Research suggests that the virus could have been spreading here in the U.S. for weeks. The White House announced new travel screening procedures for people flying into the country from those affected countries. President Trump says he's urging drug companies to speed up the process of creating a coronavirus vaccine.
We're moving at a maximum speed to develop the therapies, not only the vaccines, but the therapies. Therapies is sort of another word for cure, where you have it. It helps get the people better faster and take down the severity of the illness.
Vice President Mike Pence says a possible vaccine could be making its way to clinical trials within the next 6 weeks or so, but it appears the vaccine will not be available to the general public for about a year. In the meantime, the Fed cut interest rates by 0.5 percentage point in response to the coronavirus fallout. Take a listen.
Over the course of the last couple of weeks, we've seen a broader spread of the virus. We've seen it begin to spread a bit here in the United States. But for us, what really matters, of course, is not the epidemiology, but the risk to the economy. So we saw a risk to the outlook for the economy and chose to act.
This is the biggest cut by the Fed since 2008. The president spent most of his days away from the White House here behind me, visiting the NIH Vaccine Research Center in Maryland. It is there he saw firsthand the work being done to combat the outbreak. Eric, Jenna?
All right, Ben, thank you. Well, tonight, Tennessee is under a state of emergency. More than 20 people now confirmed dead after a pair of tornadoes ripped through the state overnight.
The tornadoes caused chaos and devastation throughout the state. Nashville was hit hard. The 2 confirmed tornadoes touched down in Music City early this morning, leaving parts of it flattened. Many Tennesseans are still missing, and the death toll is expected to keep on climbing.
And Tennessee is a Super Tuesday state, and the devastation has delayed voting there, with polls opening an hour late in Nashville and nearby areas. Tennessee is one of 14 states to cast their ballots tonight. 1,357 delegates are up for grabs on Super Tuesday. That is 1/3 of all delegates nationwide available tonight.
And as Abigail Robertson explains, Democratic voters have fewer choices today than they did just 24 hours ago.
As voters head to the polls, Joe Biden picked up some major endorsements ahead of today, hoping to rally more moderate Democrats around defeating Democratic Socialist Bernie Sanders in the primary.
We can win big or lose big. That's the choice that's upon us now.
Senator Amy Klobuchar and Mayor Pete Buttigieg ended their campaigns before Super Tuesday, and both announced they would back Biden.
I'm encouraging everybody who was part of my campaign to join me because we have found that leader in Vice President, soon to be President, Joe Biden.
Even with the boost, Bernie Sanders still leads the polls in delegate-rich Texas and California. So the question remains whether Biden can catch him.
We are going to defeat the most dangerous president in the modern history of America.
Billionaire Mike Bloomberg ignored early voting states, hoping to make a splash on Super Tuesday with his ballot debut.
I honestly think that Mike Bloomberg is a bit maybe out of his depth and got excited about running for president because he had the resources to do it and certainly some experience, but I don't think that he's going to be particularly successful.
President Trump is also on the campaign trail, bringing in massive crowds around the country, with people camping out for days ahead of his rallies.
Drain that swamp! Drain that swamp! Drain that swamp! Drain that swamp!
I'm the first person in line, yes.
When did you get here?
I got here about 1:45 midnight Thursday night.
Sharon's been on the Trump train since day one and tells CBN News this is the 7th time she's been first in line for one of his rallies.
I love the job he's doing, and I love to listen to him explain what he's doing and explain his plans for the future.
With more than a third of the total delegates being awarded by the end of today, the Democratic Party will soon have a clearer picture of who might be taking on Trump in 2020. Reporting from Charlotte, North Carolina, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
Thank you, Abigail. And here now for our Faith Nation political panel, David Brody, CBN chief political analyst, and senior Washington correspondent Jennifer Wishon. Both of you, good to have you.
Thank you.
I think the question everybody's asking right now is, will we see a front runner emerge after tonight?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we'll see a clear front runner. The latest polling we have shows that it looks like both candidates are going to win about 7 states each. And I think what we're really going to see is the highlight of the geographical and ideological divide in the party. I think we're going to see Sanders do really well in California. I think we're going to see him do well in the Northeast. And I think we're going to see Biden continue to do well in the South. But I don't think either candidate is going to run away with it tonight.
Well, the two most viable candidates, as you just mentioned, are Biden and Sanders. What is the best case scenario for each of them?
Well, the best case scenario, as Jennifer was saying, if Bernie does well in California, that's a big deal. 415 delegates up for grabs. If he's 300 plus north of that, I mean, that's a big deal. Why? Because at the end of Super Tuesday, that's going to pretty much give him some distance between himself and Biden. I think that's really important. You know, for Biden, look, he's climbing in the polls. I mean, as Jennifer said, I mean, if he can win 7 states tonight, I mean, that's a huge victory for him. We'll see. He's got to obviously do well in the South. But he is climbing in the polls. He's up 10% more in California. And remember, you got to get over that 15% threshold. And right now he is over that. So he'll earn some delegates. And that's a big deal.
Yeah, I think Sanders has to show that he can do well with minorities. He has laid a lot of groundwork early in California and Texas. He has to show that he can do well with Latino voters, especially after Biden's big win in South Carolina, and Sanders showing that he really needs to make huge improvements with African-American voters.
Well, and to piggyback off of that, that's why I'm watching Texas tonight. 228 delegates up for grabs. Latino voters huge there. Bernie is doing well now. Biden was doing very well in Texas in January. Now Biden's gotten a bounce back up. So Texas, to me, I think is, if you want to call it a bellwether, at least a state for sure worth watching. If Sanders does better than expected in Texas, that's bad news for Biden. So we'll see what happens.
What about Mike Bloomberg? Do you think he gets out after tonight if it's a poor showing?
No, I don't think he does. I mean, as a matter of fact, he was even quoted the other day saying, look, let's see what happens at the convention. He knows that he can't win a majority of delegates. He gets it. He wants to play spoiler. And beyond spoiler, he thinks he can win. Why does he think he can win? Because he thinks he can go to the convention with whatever he thinks, X amount of delegates, and say, look, Biden, Bernie, me, you got to choose me. I'm the best one that can beat Trump.
Yeah, he's banking on the contested convention.
Right.
What about the Tennessee tornado situation? How is that going to affect turnout, do you think?
It has to affect turnout. I mean, my goodness, you see these pictures of neighborhoods leveled, more than 20 people killed, and you think of the ripple effect that that has about people mourning. And I mean, even if you have damage to your house, you have to worry about that and where your family is going to sleep tonight. So this is certainly going to affect turnout. 64 delegates up for grabs for Tennessee. I think that that's a state where we could see Biden do well.
Well, we talked a little bit about California, but more of a third of tonight's votes will come from California, the delegates. Just in 2017, California actually moved its primary to Super Tuesday to try to have more influence. How do you think California will affect tonight's overall narrative as we move forward closer toward the convention?
Yeah, I think it's definitely the state to watch. That and Texas for sure. Watch out for Elizabeth Warren in California. You know, she'll be interesting. Will she place ahead of Biden? She had been polling ahead of Biden for a while. Now, Biden will get the bounce out of South Carolina, so now we see. And the reason you want to watch Elizabeth Warren is I think she's in this for a while, too. I think it's a matter of her accumulating a lot of delegates, or as many delegates as she can get. California's a treasure trove for her to a degree because of her liberalness.
What's the point of her staying in, though, and getting all of these delegates? What's the end goal there?
Well, ultimately, possibly some sort of negotiation at the end. Say, hey, Bernie, I know you need to get over the hump. I've got a few hundred delegates over here. Look my way.
Yeah.
What about the fact that if you're a Republican, if you're in the Republican camp, we only have about 15 seconds left. How are you hoping all this is going to shake out?
Tonight I want to feel the burn. I want to feel it. I want to feel it if I'm a Republican because, look, socialism, capitalism. I mean, if we get to November and the economy looks good and coronavirus isn't scaring people, that's a great place for the president to be.
I will just say real quick, if there's 7 states each and it becomes muddled, that's also good for the president in this White House. They let them fight it out all the way to July, and that could be disastrous for Democrats.
Division bodes
they'll
well.
be slugging it out,
In the White House.
Jennifer, David, thank you very much.
Thank you both. Well, against all odds, in Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu comes from behind to win a stunning victory. Now, after 3 elections in under a year, the political stalemate in Israel could be almost over.
It's a win against all odds because we stood up against the powerful forces. They already eulogized us. Our enemies said the Netanyahu era is over, but we turned the plate on its head.
Then I'll take it. Exit polls gave the parties on the right at least 59 seats, just short of the 61 needed to end the Knesset logjam. But the full vote count could take days. Netanyahu's rival, blue and white leader Benny Gantz, refused to concede. Earlier today, we spoke with Timothy. Going to switch gears here just a little bit. Last night, we saw the Likud party break a major stalemate when Israeli voters went to the polls for the 3rd time to give Benjamin Netanyahu a victory over the blue and white party's Benny Gantz. How did Netanyahu pull off such a big win, and what does this mean for the ongoing indictment against him?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there, but I would say there's little doubt that the White House peace plan that was rolled out just in the last month or so provided sort of a backdrop or a backstop, if you will, for Netanyahu to say very declaratively to the conservative base, the Orthodox and kind of moderate religious base in Israel, that I can work with the leadership of the White House and the president, and we can continue to secure our hold in not only all of Israel, but also in the West Bank or Judea and Samaria. And it had been somewhat speculative, but I think that the White House's work with Netanyahu made his final case, if you will, to the Israeli electorate extremely compelling. He still has one more seat to pick up in his coalition building process, but that's likely to happen.
Timothy Head, thank you so much again for joining us. We appreciate your insights.
Thank you.
Coming up, Senator Blackburn on the tornadoes hitting her state and why a Supreme Court case over abortion is a game changer. That's coming up next.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
You know, I think as a father, it's my job, to lead. Just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
Well, Tennessee is only just beginning to pick up the pieces after 2 tornadoes ripped through the state overnight, leaving a trail of devastation around Nashville.
Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn is here in Washington, D.C., but earlier today told CBN News her heart is back in Tennessee, in Nashville, with the people there.
We are just devastated. 19 individuals at this point we know have lost their life. So that impact is something that is going to be felt. There are many injuries, so we do not even have numbers.
And Senator Blackburn is also watching what some call the biggest abortion case facing the Supreme Court in decades. Tomorrow, justices will hear arguments about a Louisiana law that would require abortion doctors to have admitting privileges at a local hospital.
Blackburn and 206 other members of Congress asked the court to uphold that law. Paul Strand has more from Capitol Hill.
The Supreme Court consistently rules states can't put an undue burden on women getting an abortion. Pro-choice opponents of the Louisiana law argue that's exactly what it does.
It is a nonsensical statement. You want physicians and healthcare providers to have to meet a given standard, and they do this in every area except when it comes to abortions and women's health. They're saying, no, 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 no.
It's very important that we hold those abortion doctors up to the same standard as every other doctor.
Abortion providers say it's not really necessary for their doctors to have admitting privileges at a local hospital because there just aren't that many emergencies involving abortions.
This is not about the frequency of times that women have to go to the emergency room. It's about safety and protection of women if and when that does occur.
Let's make certain that a process is in place so that these women have all the information that they need, and doctors have admitting privileges just in case something goes wrong.
Thomas insists the records of Louisiana's clinics show they need higher standards and more regulation.
All 3 abortion clinics in Louisiana have numerous violations, chronic violations, year after year.
Pro-choice types worry if the court starts cracking down on abortionists, it could crack open the door to wiping out Roe v. Wade and legal abortion. Blackburn would love that.
They're saying Roe v. Wade is the holy grail. Don't disturb Roe v. Wade. And we're saying let's protect women and their unborn children.
Blackburn says she and her colleagues will be waiting anxiously to see how the court rules on this important case. Paul Strand, CBN News, the Supreme Court.
Thanks, Paul. Up next, the campaign to make 2020 the year of the Bible. You're watching Faith Nation on the CBN News Channel.
I am
region's first ROTC graduate student.
Meet the pastors who are preaching the gospel in a fresh, fearless way. I'm Roberto Torres-Cedillo. Join me each week for Next Gen Voices. And watch God transform a generation.
How'd you like to get a redo on your health, on your body, on your arteries, so you could have the energy you had 20 years ago? The great news is you can. I'm Dr. Mike Roizen, chair of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. I've written 4 New York Times bestsellers. But even better than having to read all that, you can listen to this DVD and watch it. Protect your heart? Yes, you can. Here's how.
Go to CBN.com or call 1-800-700-7000 for your free copy of Protect Your Heart. Let the medical experts show you their new discoveries on how to avoid heart disease and even reverse it. Easy steps to uncover the hidden dangers in your medicine cabinet, reduce stress, and get a complete do-over for your health. Call 1-800-700-7000. That's 1-800-700-7000. Or go to CBN.com to claim your free copy of Protect Your Heart.
The global campaign to make 2020 the year of the Bible is underway.
Yeah, tomorrow, some 400 church leaders and pastors will meet at the Museum of the Bible in Washington. It's all part of an initiative to increase engagement with the Bible around the world. The Year of the Bible is partnering with the American Bible Society, the Bible Project, and other groups to let God's Word speak. This ahead of a major gathering at Lincoln Memorial on June 20th, which will be the largest public tribute to the Bible in history.
And here with us now is Nick Brandt, a senior event director for Pulse, a prayer and evangelism movement. Now, Nick, thanks for being with us here tonight. We really appreciate it.
Exciting to talk about this. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Well, tomorrow's event at the Museum of the Bible, what can we expect?
Well, for one, we can expect 400 area DMV leaders, the D.C. area leaders, who are excited to celebrate what's already happening here in the D.C. area. But two, we are sharing with them just what this global campaign is all about. The Year of the Bible, which is in 2020, we want to engage Christians with the Bible. We want them to be more engaged than ever before. There's a really sobering statistic that says that only about 20%, I mean, statistics vary a little bit, but only about 20% of Americans that are Christian are engaging on a regular basis with their word. So we want to break those barriers, time, comprehension, maybe even shame. And so we've partnered with organizations all across the world to be able to provide tools for leaders, churches, and really to launch people back into the Word of God, making the Word of God the most foundational thing in their life.
Why is it so important, Nick, that people, fall in love with the Bible? This is the aim of many groups, but why is that so important?
Well, the Bible is by far the most catalytic piece of literature and work and writing in the history of mankind. We're talking millennia. We just came from the Museum of Bible today. I was leading a bunch of young leaders right today, showing them the impact that the Bible has had not only on our lives as Christians, but other faiths even, and culture and entertainment and arts. And so what we want people to understand is that it's living and it's active. It has the things that we know about. It has the power to change your life. So what would happen? So many people have been inspired by the Word of God across the world to create art, to create music, to create, you name it, movies even, we talk about that. What would happen if in your life, what would be inspired if you made this your year, or you dedicated your life to engage the Bible, maybe just a little bit more than you ever have before? We believe that it could start revival in this country. We believe that it could actually start a revival in your own life, in your own family, in your own home. It starts right with you, right?
So the campaign culminates this summer at the Lincoln Memorial. Tell us about that.
We are probably more thrilled than anything about this. This is going to be a one-day, the largest living tribute to the Bible and the American history that we know of. It'll happen right on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, right where Dr. Martin Luther King gave his I Have a Dream speech. We're going to be inviting guests, and we're still announcing guests as they come weeks and months ahead right now. Coming up, exciting people. Can't talk about all of them yet, but there's some more coming that are going to be actually celebrating the Word. So pastors and speakers, musicians, cultural expressions of art and entertainment. The National Mall will actually be filled with artists and different people sharing the expression of the Bible. We're inviting the church of all kinds to join us that day. About 100,000 people are hopefully going to join us out there, and it'll be an amazing day to celebrate only what God has done. It's His Word.
Yeah, well, please keep us posted on that event, June 20th. Nick Brandt with Pulse, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Well, coming up, Tennessee is opening doors and picking up the pieces in the wake of the tornadoes there. That's coming up next.
Daddy?
Yeah, buddy.
How many nickels are in a dollar?
There are 20 nickels in a dollar.
How do birds fly? Does milk really make my bones stronger?
Yeah.
Daddy, when we die, will we go to heaven?
Do you have the answer to life's biggest question? Call the 700 Club. We'll help you find answers to the important questions life brings your way.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times bestselling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain. Get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
Finally tonight, opening their doors for neighbors in need. In Tennessee, shelters are opening all over the state after the deadly tornadoes there. Victory Baptist Church, Cookeville Community Center, and the National Farmers Market, just some of those welcoming people in.
President Trump addressed those affected by the storms, sending love and prayers of the nation.
We will recover and we will rebuild and we will help them. And condolences, tough situation.
The president is set to visit the volunteer state later this week to survey the damage. For continuing coverage, you can visit cbnnews.com, and certainly our thoughts and prayers are with the people of Tennessee tonight. A lot to deal with there.
A lot to deal with, a lot of destruction, and the death toll, it just continues to climb. So, as you said, our hearts and our prayers go out to the people there and everybody who's been affected.
Absolutely. That'll do it for us tonight. Please join us back here tomorrow night.
Have a great evening.